How are we doing, people? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the show, by the way. It seems like football's every couple of days at the moment. It's absolutely mad. I can't keep up with it myself, man. But I think our performance yesterday was about as bad as my heartburn today. I'll tell you that. It was, my heart. I think that's what's caused this heartburn, is our performance, if I'm honest. Whoops, what was that? Was that Emilio moving? Was it? Okay,
No, it was
we're
me.
good.
Sorry,
We're
guys.
back in
My
the room. No, you're good, man. You're good. First thing I want to do is wish my dad a massive happy birthday today. Mark Taylor's done exactly the same thing. Just watched the earlier podcast with Lee. Big up dad in tonight's panel, except hopes Spurs are still playing shit football. And a massive happy birthday to Stephen, your dad. Thank you very much, man. Much appreciated that. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in the house. To talk everything that went on this weekend. And do you know what? Football's thick and fast. It means in a couple of days' time they're all playing again. I can't keep up with this, man. And then at the weekend they're playing European games. Oh wow, this is how the hell are we supposed to run these channels and find time to talk about it before watching it? It's just mad, isn't it? It's forever changing the times and games of some of these. But the boys at the top, Man City and Arsenal, get a nice little break. And we look down on all you lot playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Arsenal Man City game got postponed, and it's now going to be Arsenal PSV on Thursday. A long way up to look for Dave. Ash, likewise. Emilio needs to sort what's going on at the moment out. Obviously, Billy is still Gerard out. And Liam may be a little bit more positive today, but let's find out soon enough. Guys, welcome to the show. Big up everybody in the chat. Make sure you smash a like and follow everybody on their socials. Billy, welcome back, man. You've had a holiday. How was it, man?
Oh, it was lovely. Thanks, mate. Really nice to just completely disconnect. Villa still disappointed me mind, but it was nice to just relax, and a few cocktails got me over it.
Mate, I'm sure it did. And at the moment, it's not looking good for Stevie G. But then again, looking at Chelsea, they're picking up form. They've got Potter who's involved now, and it looks as if they're going to go on to a bit of a run. May as well start with you guys, though, because I feel like you haven't been on for a while. So let's talk about where you're at with Gerard. I saw the game, but I can't lie. I was so knackered after coming back from a long day that I kind of just literally watched the goals on Match of the Day and went to bed. So what did you make of the game from a Villa's perspective, bro?
For the first half in particular, the first, I'd say probably for the first 15 minutes of the second half as well, we were by far the better team. Calamity Mings back at it with his mistakes. I'm going to be honest, I'm the biggest Mings critic out there. However, he's been sensational this season. The only thing with Mings is you know that a mistake's going to come at some point, and it happened to be on Sunday. Um, so that's it is what it is at the end of the day. It's annoying, it's frustrating, but it is what it is. As Mark Taylor's just put there, we just can't finish our dinner at the minute. We look at the games against Forest, Leeds, Chelsea. You know, we should. Chelsea were there for the taking. We should have put 2-3 past them in the first half alone, and we just couldn't. It didn't help with Kepa having the best game he's ever played ever. And it's one of them. It was just one of them games where nothing really went our way. How Chilwell didn't get sent off as well is just beyond me. If that's not a red card in this day and age, then I have no idea what is, because apparently you have to karate chop someone to the kneecap for it to be. It's late. It's reckless. He's nowhere near the ball. It studs up. The only thing that people are saying is that it's low. Well, it doesn't matter, does it? Surely it doesn't matter if it's at the kneecap or if it's low. It's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous play. And it's a red card. It has to be a red card. But anyway, it probably wouldn't have changed the outcome too much. But the problems with Villa go deeper than that, really. We can perform against Man City. We can perform against Liverpool every now and then. We can perform against Chelsea. But these are the teams that you would rather not perform against, because you're not going to win them when you do perform against them. So why can't we go out and play like we did against Chelsea, against Forest, and against Leeds, and against Southampton, and against Fulham? You just know that it's not going to happen on Thursday. We're just going to go back to the same old boring shite that we've been watching so far this season. And we've been linked today with Pochettino, Unai Emery, and Thomas Tuchel, and it just feels like I'm in some kind of dream. We're looking at them kind of managers. Sorry, while we've still got Steven Gerrard as our manager, it doesn't feel right. But I think we can certainly get Pochettino, but it needs to happen as soon as possible. Whether he gets the Fulham game, I think win, lose or draw, he still has to go because it's just inevitable. He's so far down. He's dug himself so far down in this hole. It's mission impossible for him to get out of. And he's lost the fans. He's lost. I don't think he's lost the dressing room as such. I mean, it's still Steven Gerrard that these players are working with day in, day out. He's just tactically inept. He's just not good enough. And time's up. He's got to go. I said at the beginning of the season that we need to give him time. We need to give him at least a season. That's what I said. I'll hold my hands up. I was expecting 9-10 games in to have some kind of improvement, but we're the same team as we were against Bournemouth on the opening day. Nothing has improved at all, and enough is enough. Rant over.
Fair play, man. No, I understand and I feel the frustration and I get it, man. I've never really got him. I didn't really think he was amazing at Rangers, but because all you have to do is turn up and you win a game, everyone thought he was great. I never really got it, if I'm honest with you. I never saw the exceptional tactical genius that people were saying in parts of it, and I certainly haven't seen it at Villa, and I think he's very lucky to still be there now. So I want to ask you though, Ash, like you're in a situation yourself with Brendan where you want it to work out, and obviously Billy's the same. He wants it to work out with Gerrard, but times are tough. At Chelsea, you can't really sack a manager when you lose. I don't think that's fair for a team like Villa to go there. No disrespect to that Billy either, because you can be anyone on the day. But
I do agree, yeah.
You know, I feel like it's harsh. I feel like if it was going to be done, should have been done before you lose to Chelsea. But do you feel like time's up with Gerrard now, and it's just literally lose another game and he's off, mate?
Yeah, I think, like you say, they're in a very similar boat to us, where they're doing all they can to give the manager a chance, as they feel he's got a good resume. Obviously, Rangers and what he done there was fantastic, and I think obviously they're hoping he can turn it around and be the man to do it. Like I've been reading on Twitter that it's not helping that the strikers are just not finding the back of the net at the minute, because sometimes the performances have been all right from Aston Villa. You know, I think they've looked all right. But I understand the frustration as a fan, especially when Villa, obviously, I know certainly last summer they spent a lot of money, didn't they, bringing a lot of players in, and you genuinely expect a higher standard. The same as at Leicester City, we're just hoping that it can be turned around and that the man in charge now is the man to do it. And I like Villa, and I hope Gerrard can do it, because I liked watching him manage Rangers as well. And when he got the team behind him up at Rangers, they were a force to be reckoned with. But it just doesn't seem to be happening for him at Villa, and it's a shame.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for him, man. And just lastly on Villa, I want to come to you, Liam, because I feel like you're in a situation where you're not really in love or out of love with your manager at the moment. And I feel like Ralph is probably the only time that people have questioned him is probably this season in terms of this to this degree. I think before it's been like, can he do it? Yeah, he's pulled you out of holes. I think with Gerrard, I don't know about you, Liam, but I kind of don't feel like the fans are alongside him. And I'm not so sure that the board are going to wait much longer, because they've spent a lot of money over the last couple of seasons and they need to start performing. And, you know, like, I will say this, though, just quickly before I come to Liam, I will say, Ollie Watkins, Danny Ings, all these players, they do need to take some responsibility, by the way, because if they're missing chances and fluffing their lines, and it ain't the manager's fault, he's not in front of the goal. I will say that, but results business, Liam, it's not looking good for Gerrard, mate, is it?
No, it's not really. I mean, the only problem with Gerrard, I think, is his lack of experience in managing. I mean, going into Rangers as your first job is a massive job, and to be fair to him, he did a good job. But someone like Rangers, you expect to be competing no matter who's the manager. That's what I'd only say. And coming into a big club like Aston Villa, it's a difficult one to take on, because their fans are incredible. They expect the best, and like they spent a lot of money on players, and I just don't think it hasn't worked out for him. Now, I watched the highlights on Sunday. I felt bad for Gerrard. I think tactically he was kind of good for the game. It was just finishing the job, and well, Kepa had an unbelievable game. But like you say, if you don't take chances against Chelsea, and kind of two mistakes with the Mings header mistake. I thought Martinez really should have saved the free kick. I think he kind of let it go, but it's one of those ones. If you don't take your opportunities against a team like Chelsea, then they're able to punish you. And unfortunately, that's been the same with a lot of teams down there. You don't take your chances, you're going to lose games, and that's what it ends up to, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't sit there and say you're talking anything but facts, mate. And I think as well, when you look at what Villa fans are expecting, it is getting up that table. And if he can't do that, they've got to try and get another guy in. I mean, the names you mentioned there, Billy, wow. I mean, just sack him now. I mean, any of those. I mean, Tuchel, I can't see it personally.
No, I can't either.
Pochettino, I mean, perhaps. Who was the other one you were linked with?
Emery. Your mate, Unai.
Good evening. Good evening. Unai Emery. Good manager, mate. Good manager. I think got a lot of stick, if I'm honest. There's a lot of background noise from someone. I don't know who it is, but yeah, it's for me. It's time for Gerrard to go. If Villa are serious about this season, then it's time to change it now for me, man. So we'll see what happens. Let's come on to someone who I think might be a little bit more positive. Liam. I mean, talk to me. Like West Ham, David Moyes gets a lot of stick from West Ham fans. I've just been on a show with Lawless who's moaning about it, saying, "Oh, still not convinced, man. They got him to a European semi-final. He's got him into a position of 6th, 7th in 2 seasons, or 5th actually last season. Before last, sorry, they were in the relegation zone when he took over. So I think that's a little bit harsh to get on the back of Moyes. I will understand it's frustrating. I don't think it's a bad thing to question the manager when he's not getting the team selection right or management of players. But I think he's done well there. However, saying that, what did you make of the game from Southampton's perspective, bro?
No, going on your first comment, I don't understand how the hell they can criticize David Moyes, getting them top 7 in 2 seasons in a row after being in a relegation zone, European semi-final, and just won their first 4 games in the Conference League. You cannot criticize that from someone like our perspective, Leicester, even obviously with Wolves. But the game Saturday, first half, we were good. I mean, I felt bad for the goal. It probably should have been chalked off with Walker Peters being half his legs were on the pitch while staying a throw in. But that's the kind of luck we need. But the first half, we were absolutely fine. But the second half, typical Saints, just let them come on to us. We let West Ham have 25 shots. You can't do that in any single game, let alone that. But if you go against West Ham, you think before the game, well, yeah, I'll take a point. But the way we get the point and the circumstances at the moment, it's not good enough. Again, we got a massive game against Bournemouth on Wednesday, and I just don't think it's looking good. I think either way, and even if we do win, I think he still needs to go. I think we need change at the moment. It's just not looking great.
Mate, it's a mad one because I actually don't think that's a bad result against West Ham. I really don't. I think West Southampton, and I actually found out a stat yesterday, Liam. Southampton got the youngest side in the league apart from Arsenal. Is that right? As well, I think we're second youngest now.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
he's gone with a different approach, and he now, Ralph. He's gone with a different approach. He's not playing those players anymore. The problem is, like I've been saying and crying out to Arsenal fans, this is going to take too long, this process. It's going to take too long. We've had this is his 4th season now, Arteta. He's had 3 whole seasons and a bit to get things right. Southampton are going to have to accept that's probably going to take that, plus even more maybe under Ralph if they want to try and stay in this league and push forward. So, what's your thoughts on your kind of project, so to speak?
Yeah, I think obviously during Ralph's reign, he's always gone for players under 24. I mean, he's kept us up the last couple of seasons, but I think the way we went about our transfer business in the summer was completely wrong. We're on edge anyway. You can tell our squad's young when we play so well for a few months, and the next few months we're absolutely crap because of the inexperience. And we sell our most experienced player, Romeo, which is probably one of the worst decisions the club's made in a few years. You cannot get rid of a player of his experience and quality and replace them with young players. Yeah, the oldest player we brought in the summer was 26. You're not going to stay out with experience with young players. I know you can say quality over age, but sometimes you just need a leader to get the young players through. And one of our main players has been injured, which is Lavia. And it's basically saying, the Athletic were saying, we've kind of built the squad around him. You can't build a squad around 18-year-olds. You can't. We haven't won a single game since he got injured against Chelsea. I think we've just gone about it wrong. I think if we brought some decent players, then we might be in a different mess. But I don't know. I'm just not. It's a bit of a crap situation either way for us at the moment. I just don't see anywhere else except from getting relegated.
Wow, that's very pessimistic, but maybe realistic, depending on where you look at it. I mean, obviously, you watch a lot more Southampton than I do, and I don't look at it and think it's good at the moment. I can't lie, and I've always had faith that Ralph will turn it around, but maybe it's going to be difficult for him this season. You know, there's a lot going against him at the moment, and there's a lot of teams that are going to be in and around that. It's going to be tough, man. Top and bottom and middle. It's absolutely mad. But one team that frustrated the hell out of me on Saturday was Fulham, because I had money on them. And I left bloody Mitrovic on my bench, and he won a bloody penalty and scored it. So I weren't very happy, Emilio. But I imagine that you were about as frustrated as I was at points in that game. Or did you see it differently, mate?
No, you've got to take a point when you twice go behind at home. We conceded after 50, 60 seconds, first minute. Poor defending again. I said on the show last week. The defense is a problem. We're conceding on average 2 goals a game. So to win a game, we have to score at least 2 or 3 goals per game to get 3 points on the board. And I'll take the point against Bournemouth, but in hindsight, I think that's a missed opportunity. I thought we had a few injuries recently. Mitrovic wasn't firing first half. You could clearly see he was off colour. But he persevered. He actually got better second half. He looked strong. He started to get his rhythm and momentum. He won the free kick. He won the penalty. And he scored comfortably from the penalty. And on another day, we would have probably got 3 points. We were the better team. Bournemouth offered very little. Time wasting. Trying to hold back and sit back and trying to catch us on the break. But when you twice go behind at home, you will take a point against that team. The main thing we didn't lose. I know I was encouraged. Well, as a Villa fan, Billy, I think your performance yesterday against Chelsea was very encouraging. So again, you come to Craven Cottage on Thursday, you'll score. That's the thing. We've only had 1 clean sheet all season. And that does worry me.
Have you not seen our strikers' performances past couple of weeks, mate? I don't think there's any worry about you conceding a goal.
We have only had 1 clean sheet all season, and that defense. Silva listened to me. I said we need to change the central defense. And he took a brave move by dropping Tosin, putting Diop from the player we got from West Ham, who scored from a set piece. So again, he looked quite comfortable, commanding, composed at times. We have to make some change in that defense because we can't keep conceding 2 goals on average per game. Admittedly, we've been in most games all season. We've competed in all the games. The only exception was the heavy defeat against Newcastle, but that was enforced because we made a stupid foul, 10 men after 7 minutes, and game was over. But the other 9 games, I thought we've given every team a run for their money, but we're conceding goals. West Ham, last week's decisions, all 3 of them I've questioned. They all had an element of doubt and uncertainty. Probably 2 of them should have been ruled up, but we had the nerve to take a lead at the London Stadium. Could have gone 2 goals up, didn't take a chance. We lose the game 3-1. So sort out the defence, Marco Silva. I think we're playing I like the style of football we're playing, very attacking. We play a very high press, very high up the pitch, and we're getting caught out. Again, we barely kicked off on Saturday, within a minute, 1-0 down. And then the second goal that Bournemouth scored, again, I was saying to the guys around me, no one's picking up that play. Look at him making a run from the centre circle, all alone. 1 shot, bottom corner, 2-1. We just frustrated that defence. If we don't sort it out, we're going to get sucked into that relegation area. We can't keep relying on Mitrovic and others to score 2 or 3 goals per game to get 3 points. So it's good to have 12 points on the board, but the next 3 games are crucial. We've got Villa at home, Leeds away, Everton at home. They're 6 pointers. If we get 5 out of 9 points, I'll take that. Anything less, then you've got the 2 Manchester clubs straight after that. We're going to be in that. We're going to get sucked right back in. So Fulham, you've got a job to do here. Villa won't be easy on Thursday night. Both teams will be scrapping for points, but we've got to sort that defence out. I know we can score goals. I know we can create opportunities, but I've said it for probably about 5 weeks. That defence is too leaky, and if we don't sort it, there's going to be trouble in the next few months. So the World Cup can't come soon enough. Get the World Cup, get the transfer window open again in January, and strengthen that defence and just tighten up. And Marco Silva probably needs to start to play a little bit more. Probably play a little bit more conservative game at times because that's not his style. Admittedly, he likes to come forward, play a very expansive, high press game, but we're getting caught out time and time again. 2 goals on average a game, that's not good enough. That's relegation material. So I am worried. I'm worried.
I can sense the nerves in your voice, Emilio. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of those, isn't it? Like Fulham have had such a good start, I can't lie. And then you look at how things have not changed. I wouldn't say that's harsh, because Fulham, in my opinion, a lot of people tipped them to go down. So, still a good start, and you've got to be happy with what you're seeing.
Yeah,
And Mitrovic
definitely.
keeps scoring. You're going to be fine if Mitrovic keeps scoring. But I do take on your point that, leaky defenses are never good, man. And everybody keeps saying, roll on January, get rid of this World Cup. It's mad. Every single team. It's like, wow, they only just shut this window, it feels like. But everybody wants more players, it seems, man. Listen, new channel, which means new guest, new panelist. Joe, big up yourself, man. How you doing, bro? Oh, you're on mute, man.
There we go, all sorted, all good, mate. Sorry, yeah, I can't wait for January either. I need a striker to put the ball in the back of the net, mate, as you seen yesterday. So bring it on. But thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Nah, man, absolute pleasure, man. And when I get your thoughts on Fulham quickly, we're just talking about where it's gone wrong for them, how it started for them. Has it gone wrong for them? They're not in a bad position, in my opinion. What do you make of their season so far, and do you think that they'll be all right this season, mate?
They're starting to fall a little bit, aren't they? I think, like you were saying, I think we all expected them to be early relegation candidates. I did say both them and Bournemouth were goners, and obviously how wrong that turned out to be. Bournemouth are unbeaten, I think, since that 9-0 drubbing, and Forest looked to be the least likely who I thought would go down, but to be the ones going down. And Fulham have started really well, but they've started to lose a few now. I think it's like 4-8 or something, or 5-8. Sorry, 5-8. Mitrovic is key. You've got to keep him fit. We play them at the weekend, actually. We've got Leicester and Fulham. And for me, it's like, I want 6 points. We've got to get 6 points. Otherwise, we're in that conversation as well. And for me, I can't be doing with another season like last season. I just give me 14 for whatever. I just don't want to be in no relegation fight. And I mean, looking at the clubs on here now, yeah, we're there, aren't we? You know what I mean? So it's tough. I need to break away from it. So give me 6 points from the next two. But Fulham's not going to be easy. That's what I'm saying. So it's all on Mitrovic, I think. He's come out of the side, being injured, and then they've started to falter a little bit. So yeah, he's got to stay fit throughout the season and get the goals.
Yeah, I think he's key as well, man. I'm a big fan of him, by the way. I think he's wicked. I even liked him at Newcastle, to be fair. Couldn't quite get on the score sheet, but for Fulham, he's been a revelation for me, man. 100%. Dave, one of my mates is suffering a little bit of insomnia at the moment, and he put on the Wolves Forest game, and it was all right, mate. You know what I mean? He slept like a baby. What's going on, man? Talk to me.
Right, let me give you some perspective, Dan. And for all of you lads, it's like a therapy session, this. All of you have talked about the problems that you've got and things that are not going well. And I look at all of you, and none of you support Nottingham Forest, right? Let's put it like that. I love the fact that Joe's saying, I desperately want points out of Leicester and Fulham. Our next three are Brighton tomorrow night in a foreign country. I'm setting off as soon as we finish here. And then we play Liverpool and Arsenal. And everybody at the City Ground has resigned themselves to the fact that we will get 0. In fact, there's a sweep going round about how many Brighton, Liverpool and Arsenal will score. Because I'm telling you, lads, I said it last week to you, Dan, and to the boys that were on, there's 2 teams in this division in a league of their own. Well, Manchester City, I would have said before yesterday, and Forest at each end. We are the weakest team in the division by a long way, right? I thought we'd taken a little step forward against Villa last week. It wasn't pretty for neither Villa nor us, but Villa had better players than us. Villa have got guys who'd walk into our team. Leicester have got guys who'd walk into our team. Leeds have got guys who'd walk into our team. Fulham, Southampton, right? So where we are at the moment is looking at a brick wall that we can't go through. And Saturday was every bit as dour and as dire as I said last week and little Dan said last week. It was a truly awful game. The Forest Villa game wasn't very good. The Wolves Forest game was probably even worse. I mean, the only reason that Wolves won it, I think, was because of Neves and Moutinho in midfield. Those lads just have more quality and more experience than anybody Forest have got. Okay, they won with a penalty, which is incredibly harsh because it was hit like about 1,000,000 miles an hour, Harry Toffolo. But Neves stuck it away. We get our chance with a penalty, and Brennan, who's going through a bit of a crisis at the moment, missed it. And what I would say is it's the first away travelling contingent I've been in with Forest for a long time, where there was very little by way of defiance of what was going on. It was everybody was kind of resigned to what was going on. So we're in a hole. Yeah, we're waiting for the World Cup so I can have 6 weeks where we don't get beat. So there's so much for us to kind of address. I mean, obviously, managerially, we've not got any sort of Damocles hanging over Steve because he's just signed a new contract. But then people are already saying they want him out. Monday night, you get a point against Villa, everybody's okay. You lose one game, and honestly, I said it last week. I'm sure some supporters of some of these clubs would change the manager after every single defeat. They're so short term. It's almost they've got the memories of goldfish, some of these people. So Steve's relatively safe, but you just get the feeling at the moment, whatever combination of players he tries, just is not, it's out of its depth. We haven't got strikers. We haven't got anybody control midfield. Our defence is slow. And poor old Dean Henderson, actually, if he wants an audition for the World Cup, then he's doing all right because he's having to stop. It's like literally an artillery barrage every game. So it's it's not great being a Forest fan, but I'm telling you what, screw the world. I'm going to Brighton tomorrow night. And actually, the more they lose and the worse it gets, the more I'm going to love them, because there's a lot of them. We had a big sort of fallout. There's been tough fallouts about ticket demand and all this kind of stuff. And, it'd be interesting to see if that ticket demand drops off, just because you lose a few. I'm going to every game. I don't care if we get hammered. I mean, the likelihood is we get beat tomorrow night because, I watched Brighton against Brentford on Friday night, and in defeat, a little bit like Villa yesterday, they played some good football, Brighton did. And then Liverpool, I watched Liverpool against that non-league team from Scotland. And let's get it out of the way now. For Gerrard to be regarded as a great manager, there's nothing great about beating St Mirren, Livingston, Ross County, right? Let's forget that. So I watched Liverpool yesterday afternoon. I thought, oh my God, what are they going to do to us? And then obviously Arsenal. I like what I saw about Arsenal yesterday. They didn't have it all their own way, and they did what title contenders did. They get themselves 3 points. But with Forest, it's really difficult to kind of look forward and see where there's going to be a crack in the dark sky and some sunshine will come through. It's very difficult at the moment.
Yeah, I understand that, man, and I hear it. And Ash, I'll come to you before I come to Leicester on this one, man. For me, there's two managers at the moment and two clubs that just seem like they're going to stick with it and resign to the fact that what happens, happens. And that's Leicester and Forest. It don't look like anything's happening at either club in terms of a manager change. It doesn't look like any of the board are saying, right, this guy's got to go next game if you don't win. There was rumours that Rodgers was in that stage, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. That would have happened by now for me. Where do you stand with Forest? Because it looks to me like Steve Cooper's absolutely loved by the fans, and rightly so, but also been backed by the board. And they're saying, look, you've got 25 players here. You're going to get it right. We believe in you. Just enjoy the Premier League. It looks as if it's been 23 years of them fans waiting, and they're going to have to just accept that this is going to be hard. And like Dave says, fair play to him, man. He's going home and away to every game. He stays right to the end, and he praises his players. And there ain't many fans that can say that, Ash. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And what I like, what Forest are doing is obviously they're truly backing the manager. They're building everything around him. They're getting rid of people that have made mistakes in the window and things like that. You're seeing change in that way, which is a positive sign, which is the difference at Leicester City at the minute. I think it's very stale and stagnant at the top. The chairman was at the game the other day shaking his head. But back to Forest, I think they're making the right noise at the top end of the club, which is positive for the Forest fans. I think they do need to be patient with Steve Cooper. They've literally employed a new team of players on that pitch. He needs time to get it right. Whether the recruitment was right or not, Forest have addressed that now and got rid of the head of recruitment and bought somebody new in, if I'm correct. So they're making all the right noises to back Cooper. Whether they will stay up still, I think building a new team and expecting to stay up in the Premier League is very, very difficult to do. But
I tell you what, Ash, what I would say, mate, is I look at all of us 8 lads on here, right? We all love our clubs, but I'm telling you now, I think Steve Cooper, because of the speed in which Forest arrived at this position, how little time they had to prepare, how many players they lost, which is always conveniently forgotten by the TalkSport talking heads, right? for us to even be, for me, even to be on a podcast with 7 fantastic lads like you is a miracle, because this time last year I was pondering going to Huddersfield, Barnsley and Birmingham, right? Now, my slight theory is that we almost got here too quick. Fulham were up long before us and were able to prepare, but had already had Premier League standard players. Bournemouth sort of to a lesser extent, but if Forest had gone out and bought a load of Premier League standard players this time towards the playoffs, we'd have been laughed at and it probably wouldn't have happened. So I reckon Steve Cooper has got the hardest job of any manager in football at the moment. Now, the thing is, the fans are right behind him, but I do think he's been shafted a little bit by the recruitment.
Yeah.
There's other things going on inside the club about which I think he's been sort of embarrassed by. I mean, there was that tweet that went out before the Wolves game on Saturday. There was a tweet of Emmanuel Dennis with 3 baby wolf cubs, and it said playtime. Now, if I'm Steve Davis at the Wolves, right, and I've run football teams in the past, I'm popping that on the wall and saying to the Wolves, are you going to let Forest get away with that? So what Forest have got to do, they're already kind of out of their depth against a lot of these teams. What they don't want to do is give the opposition any kind of initiative. So Steve's not been helped by certain factors. I think there's meddling people in the club, but as regards him, nobody's bomb-proof in football because it's a results-based business, but he's in a decent situation. And like the other good point you made, Cash, and I'm glad you said it, is this business of, we're in the Premier League, we'll take what comes because we've not been there for 23 years, but some of ours don't see it like that. There are a lot of them said, we'll just take it for the ride, we'll take the ups and downs, but some of them think it should be through thick and thick. It's not. At the moment, I'm going home and away, giving it that, right, through thin and thin.
Yeah.
And when you say, we all love our clubs, when I say I'm Forest till I die, I properly mean it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I love that, man.
Your point, Dave, on like you say, because I've seen the Forest tweet that photograph, and like you say, it fuels fire in teams when they want to play against them. And the Wolves tweeted afterwards. I don't know if you noticed. It was like a chopped tree with an axe in it, and I was like, don't
you know what,
your teams up like that.
It was 1-0 to Wolves on the pitch, and it was 1-0 to Wolves off it. And Forest want their arse kicking for doing that. I was embarrassed by that.
Yeah, it weren't great, man. It didn't look good at all.
Just asking for trouble, isn't it? It's just asking for trouble.
Absolutely, Billy.
You just don't want to tempt fate.
No.
Well, Leeds did it before Brentford with Ilya Melier and put him in a beekeeper's outfit and put beekeeper, and we got spanked 5-2. So it tells you how ill-advised it is. Yeah,
absolutely, Joe.
Yeah, man. It ain't good, man. Let the game play out, man. Let's leave all that till afterwards. But it's mad. Before I bring Joe and Pete in, Ash, I just want to get your thoughts on Leicester, because obviously Danny Ward keeps a clean sheet. I'm gutted D ain't on, man. I was going to absolutely have him for breakfast, man.
Yeah.
I was going to have him, man. I was going to absolutely have him for breakfast. I know he's watching. He's decided not to come on again tonight because Palace ain't got 3 points. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's now not well again. But it's unreal, man. No, I'm joking. I love you, D. I'm only joking, man. But the way Leicester are at the moment, it's just like Leicester are a team that, like I said earlier, aren't going to do much but with Rodgers. But what have you made of some of his comments? I think he can feel a bit of tension with the fans, with the board. It just don't feel very comfortable at the moment where he's at the moment, Ash.
No, so Top was at the game at the weekend, the chairman, and the massive tweet is him shaking his head at the end of the game, like in disappointment. So I think he's on a thin line now, if I'm being 100% honest. Sue Whelan, who's up the top as well, was there, and Rudkin, who's deals with the recruitment as well, was there. He stormed out a media press conference yesterday as well. He was questioned by one of our local reporters about his wage, and he stormed out. Now that's just so not Rodgers. So that tells me that there's pressure building there. And I think if we don't pick 3 points up at home against Leeds on Thursday, I think I'll be sat on a podcast with you guys without a manager. And that is on it. I know I've said it the last few games, if we lose. And I genuinely did believe that if we lost to Palace, that Rodgers would have gone. But the performance, again, I think we looked all right. I genuinely think we were better than I think we were better than Palace. I'd like to say we were the better team. Weren't the best advert for Premier League football. It was a terrible football match in general. But I thought we were the better team.
Ash, can I ask you a question, mate? We were
Yeah,
coming
sure.
back from Molineux, and Brendan came on and he said that it was incredibly hot inside the King Power. He said that Leicester lost. Apparently, it was global warming hit Leicester harder than any other place on earth on Saturday, didn't it? Is that correct?
Yeah, well, the only thing that could be making that stadium hot at the minute is the pyrotechnics that they've got at the start of the game, pumping the fire out. And if we can't sack a manager, I don't know how we're paying the gas bill to let them off at the start of every game, you know. But no, all joking aside, I do think he's on thin ice, and I think it's about his time. Me personally, I like Rodgers, and my worry is who else you're getting in to manage this group of unsettled players. But there's always normally a new manager honeymoon period. But we shall see. I just think we need another positive performance, but just find the back of the net on Thursday, because we got a clean sheet. The defence looked a little tighter. Palace, unless Palace just had a real bad game, I thought we looked quite solid at the back at the weekend. But it was just up top. We've got nothing. Vardy seems nowhere when he comes on. And Daka was good again, but we just couldn't break Palace down.
Yeah, man, they got to do it without Maddison as well. Am I right? Is he suspended?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
that's a massive miss for you, man. I know I say this every week, but this kid, man, I'd love him in an Arsenal shirt. Sorry, Ash, but I would. I think
I'm
he's...
gutted for him because
Look
Southgate.
at Pete, he's rubbing his hands.
I am genuinely gutted for him because Southgate was there at the weekend, and Maddison seemed to have like one of his more quiet games he's had this season, and I was so disappointed for him because it was a perfect chance for him to really showcase what he's been about all season, and he didn't really at the weekend.
Yeah,
does he really have to watch
I'm
that game
convinced
to
James Madison,
see how good he's been this season?
Yeah, exactly.
100%,
I'm convinced
100%.
James Madison could have scored a hat trick on Saturday, and he still wouldn't.
And he
have
still
taken
wouldn't pick him.
that's
I
true.
watched Aston Villa against Southampton this season. I've got to say, watching that Leicester Palace game was even worse than that. And that's like pretty bad.
I was really excited for the football on Saturday. I was sat in the sports bar, I was watching it, and I was nearly falling asleep.
It was shocking, man. It was Sunday that turned up and saved the weekend, if I'm honest, because it was absolute mad. But one game, I'm going to save Arsenal and Leeds to last for obvious reasons. But one game that I didn't really watch, Pete, I can't lie, because obviously my game was on at the same time, was your game. All I hear is Man United should have had a penalty, Newcastle should have had a penalty, and then the end. That's basically the game. Am I wrong? Did I miss anything?
No, not really. but I'm going to take that because I was at Old Trafford in the away end, so I was obviously supporting them. I couldn't believe how quiet it was. Old Trafford is just like a ghost town at the moment. I've been there when it was rocking. It is just far from that. And I travelled up with my mate that I grew up with. He's been a season ticket holder for 20 years, and he said the same. He was like, be prepared to be surprised because it's been a long time since I've been there. To see what it's like even in the last year. But we outsung them from start to finish. Brilliant backing as always from the Newcastle fans. And yeah, the story of the game was really our chance. We had the best chance of the game, even though they'll talk about the Rashford chance. The Joe Linton chance in the first half where Trippier takes a free kick and you're thinking Trippier goal, and it just a little bit lower than it needed to be, bounced off the wall. He's nicked it back in. Joe Linton's headed it onto the bar, and then it's come back to him, and he's headed it onto the post. I don't know how he's managed to head it back onto the post when he had the whole goal to go for. But
there's a reason he's now a centre mid.
yeah, pretty much. To be fair, in his centre mid, he was a bully in that centre mid. We talked about how good Casemiro is as a defensive midfielder, but you know, Joe Linton really took the game to him. So yeah, it was a good performance from us. I'd have took the point before the game. Man United were very quiet. I've got to give a shout out to Sven Botman. For me, top 3 performing centre backs in the Premier League this season. The guy is an absolute man mountain. Ronaldo didn't even get a look in. They brought Rashford on. Didn't even get a look in, apart from the last minute when he kind of comes in off the right hand side. But the guy he's the Van Dijk replacement. He really is. He's that good. And yeah, just a very impressive performance considering we didn't have Isaac, who's likely to be missing now until after the World Cup, and Alan St-Maximin, who was also likely to be missing now until after the World Cup. So, considering those two big players missing, and we can still go to places like Old Trafford cause them more problems than they caused us, says a lot about where we are right now as a club and where we're going. We're not fearful of anybody.
I was just going to say that, funny enough, man. Literally, I was just going to say I don't see any Newcastle side this season worried about any of the teams in this league. And that's mad for me. And I know that you've got a lot of confidence, positive fan base at the moment. Eddie Howe's looking like he's loving life. But the results haven't been like, wow, Newcastle are here yet. But the team would suggest that confidence says that they are. And I feel like going to Old Trafford is always tough, man. We knew that. We got caught naively on the break. We lost the game 3-1. You guys, from what I hear, it didn't look like that at all. You look like you got your game plan. I just want to mention Sven Botman as well, by the way. When you signed this kid from, was it Lille? I signed him and everybody was saying, oh, this guy's good, apparently. And I said, look, I watch a bit of French football, but I don't watch it all, but I always watch Lille. The reason is most of the players in the Premier League that have been half decent have come from Lille over the last, 10 years? You look at the Johan Cabayas, Mathieu Debussys. I know Pepe wasn't a hit for Arsenal, but he come from Lille. You look at some of the others, Hazard. So I'm thinking they've got a good scouting system over there. I'm going to go watch them.
You know what, Dan? The reason why people weren't talking about Sven Botman and the reason why none of those traditional big six didn't sign him is because Sven Botman, although started at Ajax, didn't come out of the Ajax first team. So what happened is that he was in the second team. He was primed for the first team, but went out to Heerenveen, had a great spell at Heerenveen. He had an opportunity to go back into the first team, but then Lille came in with a bid and signed him. So he never actually played for the Ajax first team. Now, if he had, he'd have come out not long after the likes of De Ligt and one or two other top players, the likes of, De Jongs. He was part of that group, slightly younger. He's only 22 still, come out of that group. But because he didn't play in the first team, nobody's talking about him, and they almost kind of bypassed him because he didn't come out of that traditional first team. He's gone to Lille. He was the reason why they won the league. Him and Jose Font, ex-Southampton centre-back, they were the reason why. It was built on solid defensive grounds, and Sven Botman was unplayable in that season. He had a good season last season. Back end of the season wasn't great because, quite frankly, Lille weren't great, but also we were close to signing in January. It's obviously swayed him slightly. But he's come to us and he's just hit the ground running. The guy's a mountain.
Yeah, I must admit, man, like Newcastle are building a nice spine there, man. I know Nick Pope is not really a modern day goalkeeper, but he's a hell of a keeper and a shot stopper. Premier League proven. Sven Botman, Bruno Guimaraes, and obviously Isaac up top, man. That's not looking a bad start. Obviously, you've brought in the ones before that, Kieran Trippier's, etc. targets, but bro, it's not looking bad, Newcastle, man.
Just need to add Madison to that in January, and then we're
Madison and Tielemans. Madison, Tielemans, and Zaha are all to Newcastle. Can you imagine? Unbelievable. Newcastle going for top four. Listen, it's good. I actually have a bit of a soft spot for Newcastle. I think it's because I really like their fan base, if I'm honest, and I think they've been treated like dirt over the last 10 years. Well, probably longer than that under Mike Ashley, and let them enjoy it, man. They're gonna be winning stuff. I keep saying it. Give it a few years, they will be up there, man. Trust me. We saw it with City, we saw it with Chelsea. It's gonna happen.
It's not a cocky thing either. Like the things that I'm saying, it's not as being arrogant or anything like that. Some fan bases have saw it that way. We are just simply enjoying the fact that we've got an ownership that actually care about the club, that actually want the club to be the best it can possibly be. We've just signed a new commercial officer, ex-Arsenal, Silverstone. He's come in and taken the reins today. So we're signing people in the right positions within the club. And it's just great to see. We were a shell of a club, and now we're the best of the best. And that's just something that we've not been used to for so long. So it's not as being arrogant or egos or cockiness. It's just that we're just enjoying the fact that we can actually enjoy our club for once. And it's just a great feeling.
Yeah, man, 100%, man. Can you guys do me a favor? When you're not talking, can you go on mute? Because there is some serious background noise, man. It's like M25. Someone's got outside their house. I don't know who it is, but fair play, man. Joe, I've left you to last for a reason, man. I always try and do this with us when it comes to Arsenal. playing a team with on this show, and I've got serious heartburn today, and that is not a joke. And I think that is what caused it, man. Honestly, yesterday was a madness. I normally pick out moments in games on this channel. I normally say, "What did you think of this? What did you think of that?" I ain't got enough time, mate, to talk about Arsenal Leeds. So I want to hand the mic to you, and you tell me: was you disappointed? Was you frustrated, or do you walk away with your head held high and slightly positive as a Leeds fan, bro?
It's all three, really. It's all three. Look, I mean, how Arsenal win the game is beyond me. It's madness to think afterwards that we got 0 from it. It's a tale of two strikers. Like I'm sick of saying we should have bought a striker in the summer. I'm sick of it. I really rate Bamford. He's my guy. I like him, but he's been carrying a knock since last season. He played. I think they said at the end of last season that he trained like 6 times. 6 times, yeah. So knowing that they know all this, the fact then that they didn't go out and buy a striker is just like, it blows my mind. Especially when you consider we broke even after selling Rafinha and Calvin. So there was money there, and they didn't do it. They try to do it on the cheap all the time. So I don't actually blame Bamford. Had we have brought in someone to supplement him, then he would be able to bring himself up to a level slowly but surely, instead of us having to rely on him to be the number one guy. So he's got a bit of ring rustiness. That doesn't mean that he shouldn't be scoring from the penalty spot. Of course he should. And Ramsdale did get the man of the match, but I still think some of them he made very easy for him. Rodrigo, I'm done with anyway. Like I don't rate the guy. Like, to be honest, he's a bit of a busted flush, bit of a poor signing in the end when you look back at it. Spain's number 9 at the time, record signing, came in and he's just done nothing for me. Yeah, he started the season well. Many Leeds fans believed the hype, but I've seen it too many times. In and out, and I mean, he cost us for me at the weekend with that. I don't know what he's trying to do, Dan. Like, I don't know what that probably is his best pass during his Leeds career, and he's passed it to Saka. I mean, it's a great finish by Saka. But for us to keep what, for me, is Bar City the best team in the league, not just in terms of results, but in terms of aesthetics as well. I enjoy watching Arsenal again. I think they're brilliant to watch. Jesus is different gravy. He's just a totally different player. Whether or not that's due to Pep's system and him just like breaking out, and this is what he always was kind of thing, but we know Pep's very much, this is what you must do. I think as well, like even in the lead up to the game, I'd have thought, right, they've beaten Liverpool, they've beaten Spurs, they've been in Europe, they'll take us lightly, we'll beat them. But not now. This by adding someone like a Jesus, by adding someone like a Zinchenko, I know he wasn't involved, but it's just that winning mentality that no matter what happened, Arsenal weren't going to step off. They were going to try and get a result, and they did. I mean, in terms of like the referee, I think the Bamford goal that he did score, it's soft. I think it's really, really soft. And I'm disappointed. But I said in the lead up on Box to Box on AFTV, I said, Gabriel's the link. Gabriel's the weak link. And I got battered off a load of Arsenal fans, naturally. Whatever, he's a beast.
You will do, mate. You will do. Don't criticise.
Yeah. He was the weak link, though, Dan. You know what I mean? He was, and he almost did cost you. But listen, I'm just proud now because since that Chelsea win, we've been terrible. Yeah, we played Villa. We've been woeful, right? Really, really bad. And I thought, we're going to need a change. We're going to need to change a manager. I'm not Jesse's biggest fan anyway because I'm all about Bielsa. So I'm still adjusting now. I'm still adjusting. But I before that Arsenal game, due to the performances, I'm thinking, we're not beating Leicester. Fulham and Bournemouth will beat us. He's going to have to go before the World Cup. What that performance against Arsenal has done for me, though, is give me renewed confidence. Because if we can do that to Arsenal, and for me, we were your toughest test, like that you've had. I've watched a lot of Arsenal this season. You played. I know you got beat by Man United, but you were the better side. You were the better side by far for me. So I look at it and think we've actually give the team at the top of the table their toughest test. So if we then take that into the fixtures coming up, which is Leicester and Fulham, For me, we've got to get 6 points. We have got to, and that's not saying it from an arrogant standpoint. Like Leicester, they're just not the team this year. Like Rodgers needs to go. It's obviously just gone tits up. And Fulham, really, we should be beating because they've just come up. So we've got to get 6 points. But yeah, I'm all three of them. I hope I've answered that all right for you, mate. There's a lot of information for you to take in. But I mean, you must know yourself. I bet you were going home or where if you went to the game down thinking, "Oh, have we got 3 points?" I don't know. We've done it.
100.
You've done it.
100%, man, 100%. And people start talking about, oh, that's a champions win. If we play like that, we ain't going to be champions. Let me tell you that now. We were shocking at the back, man. I mean, I gave Aaron Ramsdale an 8 out of 10. And I reckon I could have added up the back line of Arsenal and probably just about gone 8 for how well they played combined. They were shockingly bad, man. Ben White, wasn't he on loan at Leeds?
Yeah,
I think he thought he was still there. He was passing to all the people in white. He wasn't passing to any Arsenal players. So he was poor. He got hooked. Tomiyasu, like absolute masterclass last weekend, playing him up against Salah. It was tactical. What's he doing playing at left back against Leeds? Kieran Tierney's there. He's fine. Didn't work out. I think he got a 4 out of 10 or something mad like that. He was so poor. Gabriel, I'm afraid I'm running out of how much I can stick up for this guy at the moment. Defensively, I like him. He's got an error in him. We've seen him be shaky this season. Seen him be shaky at times last season. But my God, what is he doing there? I don't care that he was fouled, and he was fouled, by the way. I think the referee got it right in the end. But why are you kicking out like that in the last minute of the game, trying to do your best to give Leeds something from it? Now, I'll go through quickly what I thought of the other incidents. I thought the handball was a handball from Saliba. I actually thought he was playing netball. He's trying to catch the damn thing. I don't know what he's doing. It was mad. Absolute mad. I feel it was extremely harsh to disallow the goal. I didn't feel it was enough of a foul on Gabriel for me. I know if defenders go down and make it a meal of it, that's going to happen. I thought that one was the one that they got wrong. The other one they got wrong was the penalty that they did give for the handball. The reason it shouldn't be given is because he was miles offside in the phase of play previously. So I thought they were the only two they got wrong. I thought the other one, to be fair, VAR come and it saved Arsenal. And to be fair, 30-minute delay. I'm glad that we waited that 30 minutes. If we would have played it without VAR, Leeds would be walking away with a 2 or 3-1 win. So, lucky. It wasn't a win ugly. That was a win lucky for Arsenal, mate. And I don't feel personally like there was anything that Leeds could have done. They tried everything they could. They were poor with the penalty, poor with the finishing. Sinistera causing problems but couldn't finish. Obviously, Bamford, you've mentioned. But you've got such a hard-working, intense team there, mate. Like, I can't lie. I watched us against Liverpool last weekend and I walked away thinking probably the best team we've played. For me, Leeds were ridiculous, mate. The work rate, the intensity, the tenacity. You've got Rocker and Adams who have been fantastic signings. Aronson's been superb. Sinistera's causing problems. If you could have that number 9 that would be that player, and to be fair, it doesn't have to be like a Harry Kane, somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net, I think Leeds are going to be fine. And I'm actually been a fan of Jesse Marsh. I was a big lover of Bielsa, and I love the fact that he's gone back in time and what he's done with some of the new managers. But you were always wide open. And I don't think you are as much under Marsh. I think that you're hardworking and you've got more shape. I think that triangle in midfield is unbelievably good. So I'd give him some time and see what Leeds can do. I don't think Leeds are going down, bro. I don't think Leeds are going down, Joe. Honestly, man.
No. I don't think we will either. Like, I do think we will be fine. I do. It's just, for me, like, the problem comes down when we're tasked with breaking down a side, because with that counter press, we don't want the ball. So like when the impetus is on us, it's like I knew the Arsenal game would be a decent game because I looked at the Chelsea result. Chelsea came to impose their game on us. We catch them with the counter press. We create chances. We score goals. I expected that because Arsenal are going to try and impose their style. But when we're expected to be the aggressor in terms of breaking teams down, I just struggle to see what the plan is at times. Like, it'll be interesting to see if we can take what happened at the weekend into Leicester, into Fulham. But these other managers might just look at it and say, right, let's play with the low block and then just knock the ball over the top and then we'll beat them. Like Crystal Palace, we played Palace, we played them off the park for 25 minutes. Then there's a break in play. AU got a concussion. Patrick Vieira, quick little chat with Eze, get the ball over the top for Elise, for Zaha. They do it. They beat us 2-1. We don't have one shot on target in the second half. And like Jesse says in the post-match, they were just chipping it over the fullbacks. Right, so do something about it then. Like what? I don't understand it. If you could see it and I could see it, and I'm sat in a room, do you know what I mean? Then why not do something? So the jury is still out with me, but I hear what you're saying. I think the board have let him down as well because we didn't get a striker, we didn't get a left back. We've got Pascal Struijk, who did a fantastic job up against Saka. He's a left-sided centre back. He should be playing there. But we don't have a left back. We bought Junior Firpo from Barca. Oh my God, 18 million on nearly 100 grand a week. He's terrible.
It's bad.
So bad.
Positionally, he's unbelievably bad, isn't he?
It's brutal.
Yeah, man. Listen, there's a long way to go, and a lot of people were tipping Leeds to be struggling. And out of what I've seen enough, man. To wrap up, I want to go through some predictions. Emilio, I'm going to start with you with Fulham. This week, you've got a couple of games. What are you going for, man, prediction-wise against your sides?
They've got to aim for 4 points minimum, not to lose minimum. So Villa at home, I think we've got to win. We didn't beat Bournemouth on Saturday, but that's going to be an open game. To be honest, it could be a high-scoring draw, but I think we're good enough to win that game. I think we've got injuries. The place more fit than he was on Saturday. Willian had a good second half when he came back from his injury. So I think we're starting to see some of our players coming back, and we badly missed them. So I think we can beat Villa at home on Thursday night. Leeds, difficult game, dominated against Arsenal. Difficult ground to go and play against. If we could get a draw from that game, I'll take that. These are don't lose against the teams around us. I've said that all along season. Put Liverpool, Arsenal, they're bonus. Don't lose against the teams around you. So for me, minimum 4 points. But would I take 2 draws? It's better than losing in one of those games and winning one of them. Weirdly, I'd rather we don't give the opposition teams around us the advantage by getting those 6 pointers and winning those 3 points against us. So let's avoid losing both games, but we've got to be bullish. We've got to take the chance against Villa on Thursday night. And you never know, we might get something at Leeds and possibly even nick a win there. So 4 points for me.
Fair play, man. I think everyone Fulham-wise would be happy with that. Billy, what are you going for, bro?
I can only predict the Fulham game because I don't know if Gerrard's going to be there for the Brentford game at the weekend. And I genuinely cannot see us winning. We just can't put the ball in the back of the net. And Fulham, when you've got Mitrovic on the pitch, you're always going to be dangerous. So I don't want to say we're going to lose. So I'm going to say a 1-1 draw, I think. Brentford, it depends very much if Gerrard's there, if he isn't. If he is, I think we'll get beat 100%. I really like Brentford as a club. I enjoy the way that they play football. I think they're a great side. Ivan Toney is fantastic. Great form as well. If Gerrard's there, we lose 100%. If he isn't, and maybe we don't have a replacement in just yet, hopefully it'll be Pochettino, but you never know. He seems the favourite. He seems like the number one target. If he's there, then I can genuinely see us getting something out of the game, whether that be all 3 points or just a draw. I can genuinely see us getting something out of it. It just depends
whether Gerrard's there or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think Poch will go to Villa?
Yes, I do.
No
I think we're the fifth richest club in the Premier League. People forget about it. We've got huge backing. He loves the Premier League. He loves the project. He's got backing like he's never had before. And I think I could get more out of those players, to be honest with you. So
fair enough.
We've also got a large South American contingent now. So hopefully, with the likes of Emi Martinez, Buendia, Coutinho, even, I think he would come to us personally, yeah. And I think we're a big enough club to entice him in, especially if we offer him the right money as well. Everyone's got a price at the end of the day.
Yeah, fair play to you, man. Fair play to you. Liam, what are you going for, bro?
It's a difficult situation. It's a bit like Billy.
So pessimistic. He's just looking at the screen like, I don't know, man. I don't care.
It's obviously Ralph's going to be here for Wednesday. It's just whether he's here for Sunday, depending on the result on Wednesday. But I think it's about time someone blew Bournemouth's bubble, because I don't know how the hell they're unbeaten. Their squad, I know, Dave, you said you're probably the worst squad in the league, but I think on paper it's still Bournemouth. I don't know. So it's a difficult one, but I think we're due a clean sheet. I think we're due a win. I feel a bit confident against Bournemouth. I think we'll beat Bournemouth, then Ralph will get Sunday, we'll lose 3-0, and maybe he'll be sacked after then, but it just all depends on Wednesday. I don't really care about Arsenal. That's a free hit. It's just getting the win against Bournemouth. We have to beat them, otherwise we're in a bad position, and it can't get any worse at the moment.
Fair enough, man. No, listen, I hope you don't get nothing on the Sunday, but hopefully you beat Bournemouth and then you can just relax on Sunday against us. But we'll see, man. Ash, what are you going for, man? Leicester have got to do something, man. Crikey, what's going on?
Yeah, it's crunch time, as you would say. We've got Leeds and Wolves, two teams really that, without sounding too bad, last season, the season before, especially teams like, no offense, Leeds coming to us, would normally be a given, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because we were up there competing for Champions League places. Now we're in a scrap, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see whether we can have another solid defensive performance like we did Saturday, because we were good at the back, and improve at the top of the field and get a few goals like we did against Forest, or whether we're just going to go back to square one and see shambolic defending, mistakes. I'd like to be positive and say that we might nick it on Thursday, but we never do well at the Molineux. And no matter how bad Wolves are playing, I can't see us coming away with anything there. So even if we get a positive result on Thursday and lose on Sunday, it's back to square one. And I think the ownership has got a massive job on their hands in making a big decision about our manager.
Yeah, man, I hope for your sake, man, because you've come on here every week, and the only week you missed was when you smashed Forest. Every other week you've pretty much been a loss, man. So I hope for your sake it turns around. Dave, what are you going for, man? Forest at the moment. You've already said how it is, but what do you reckon, bro?
Right, so Brighton tomorrow night. Brighton and Hove Albion 3, Nottingham Forest 0. I shall have a stick of rock, a walk on the beach, a fight with some mods and rockers, recreate quadrophenia. Endure the game. I've got some sandwiches for the bus down and some Haribo for the bus back. There'll be some punk rock on the phone. We get back to City Ground about 4:00. Forget the game. We'll have a nice day out in Brighton. We're going to get murdered. Saturday, Liverpool come, and we've been told that every season card holder that goes into the City Ground on Saturday dinner time will be offered a free calculator because I tell you now, after watching Liverpool yesterday and watching them against that Highland League side on Thursday night, it could be a bloodbath. It really could. When I watch, you think that like we've struggled, a point against the Villa was seen as like an apogee of an improvement, and we've lost to like Fulham and Bournemouth. No disrespect to any of your clubs. I think you're all better teams than we are. But we didn't get anything from them games. And then Liverpool turn up and will eat us alive dinner time. Honestly, Chris Sutton has had us to lose every game this season. And he's had like big scores on his predictions on the BBC. I reckon I can see him predicting 10-0 to Liverpool at the weekend. I see nothing but heavy defeats. And so what I'm doing, lads, I'm chucking my optimism out into the high street of the little village I live in, because I've tried optimism and it's got me nowhere. So I'm going to be super pessimistic and hope that life is so perverse and bizarre that Forest do something that like bends the laws of physics, but we are not winning either game. In fact, our 5 to the World Cup are Brighton, no, Liverpool, no, Arsenal, no, and then Brentford and Palace at home to finish. Can't see us winning any of them. So that's me.
Well, it's good to be optimistic, Dave. Do you know what I'm saying? It's always good.
I'm offering all of you lads perspective, because you go away from this show, all of you, whether you're, Newcastle, Leeds, whoever, and you've all of you have got players I would love. Not one of you is looking at me and thinking, "Oh, I won't mind him," or "I won't mind him from Forest." You know what I mean? So I am the perspective to all of your lives. All right.
Listen, I love that, man, and I hear that. I know it's tough times for Forest, but I love your honesty, man. Gonna finish up with Pete and Joe. Pete, let's come to you, man. Who have you got? I don't even know who you've got, bro.
Yeah, we'll get Everton at St James's Park Wednesday. I'll be travelling up to that game, and then we've got Tottenham away on Sunday. But I just wanted to say first and foremost, Dave, I hear you, man. We had nearly 15 years of that under Mike Ashley, where the build-up and the after the game was more important and more enjoyable than the actual 90 minutes. So I completely get what you're saying. And actually, one player that I would take off you, Brendan Johnson. I like him. I think he's a very, very talented player.
Pete, can I just come back, mate? Two things I want to say. Thank you for what you said about Brendan, because Brendan has had a lot of abuse since Saturday. And he's a young boy making his way in the world, making his way in the hardest football league on earth. And some of the things that were said about him on, it's anti-social media. It's incredibly cruel. He was devastated missing the penalty. And I felt for the lad. You have to walk a mile in another man's shoes sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I really felt for that kid. I'm a guy in his 50s, right? And I'm a soft heart. I don't want to abuse any of our players. I know our lads are trying their best, right? So that's one thing. Thank you very much for saying that. I really appreciate it. Can I also say, mate, I went to St James's Park, first game of the season, and it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had at a football ground. The Geordies, they saw red shirts and they came up and they were absolutely wonderful, mate. So just want to say a good word for Newcastle fans, mate.
Look, we've always been like that. I speak to loads of opposition fans. We've got 108 bars in and around the stadium, the most of any other club in the league, or in the country, in fact. And actually, every single one of those 108, anybody can go to, whatever fan you are, and they will embrace you. And that's what we're about in Newcastle. That's why, just one of many reasons why I love the club. But Everton, we have to beat Everton. We have to beat Everton. I went to the game at Goodison last season where they had their resurgence and they beat us, and I'm still angry about it right now. So we have to beat them, and that's why I'm making the journey up, because I want to see us get 3 points. Tottenham away, different story. I'd take a point right now if you offered it me. They're not playing the best, but they just seem to be getting results. And although we've only lost one game this season against Liverpool, and that was under controversial circumstances, I just feel like they're gonna get another win. So yeah, one win. I take a draw at Tottenham, but 1 win, 1 defeat. A point at Old Trafford on Sunday. I'll take that.
Fair play to you, man, and of course, I hope you absolutely batter Conte Spurs. I really do, man. Please, just not just one, just like 3 or 4 would be lovely, Pete. Do you know what I'm saying? But we go this way. I'm getting so sick and tired of them, like winning by playing the way they are. But listen, this is what Conte does. Joe, can you bounce back, mate?
Yeah, hopefully so, mate. We haven't won in 6, so we need something. And what better team to face than Leicester City right now, right? So, no James Maddison as well. When he got that yellow card, I can't lie, I was like, get in. Because he's the one player that has been decent this season. If we can't beat this Leicester side on their current run of form, again, let me just say, Leicester have a fantastic squad. I do believe that, and I take a lot of their players. But they are where they are currently because of Rodgers, and it just seems to have, fallen a bit. So we've got to get 3 points, man. We've got to get 3 points. Then we're at home against Fulham. I'm probably more concerned about that game, but being at home, because I just worry about Mitrovic. I like Polinia. I like the guy from Manchester United. What's his name?
Andres Pereira.
So it's in my fantasy team as well. He's been a mainstay. I should have straight off the head, but yeah. But I do think we can win them both. I do, and then I think we've got Liverpool, then Spurs, and then we finish up with Bournemouth. So we need to get some points on the board. So 6 for me, wins Thursday and Sunday.
Listen, I think that's fair, man, and I can see why you believe that, the way you played yesterday. I think you've got a great chance. Guys, massive thank you and for coming on, man. This has been a great show. Great to see so many of you, man, and I know things are tough and times are tough, but I hope this provides some good therapy for you all because for me, I absolutely love this show for the pure fact that I can sit back, relax, and listen to your opinions. I only watch Match of the Day, guys. I don't do analysis on all of your teams, and I love what you bring to the table to this channel. It's absolutely so important for me, man. So make sure you go and follow the guys on the socials. I'll put all of the links to their podcasts in the descriptions, those that are doing channels. Make sure you go and do that, guys. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and until then, we'll see you next time, and up the Arsenal. Take care, guys.